I dropped my wife off at JFK, thinking it was just another routine business trip to Boston. But just as I was about to drive home, my 9-year-old daughter grabbed my hand, her voice trembling.
"Dad, please don't go home tonight. I know something about Mom. You have to believe me this time."
I looked into her eyes and saw real fear. I believed her, and we hid. And what I witnessed next still haunts me to this day. Before we get to what my daughter saw that made her beg me not to go home, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it there? I want to know who's awake right now. Listening to the moment that saved our lives. Tuesday night, JFK Airport. Rain hammered my windshield as I pulled up to departures. Rachel leaned over and kissed me quick. "Already drove my Tesla there yesterday for the prep meetings," she said, grabbing her carry-on. "So you've got the family car this weekend, honey? Sounds good. See you Thursday night. Love you." "Love you too." She disappeared through the sliding doors. Gray blazer, dark hair pulled back, every inch the professional heading to Boston. I didn't see the lie. Behind me, Emma was silent in her booster seat, fingers twisting the straps of her unicorn backpack. At 9 years old, my daughter was the watching type, the kid who noticed things others missed. I shifted into drive and merged into airport traffic. Just another Tuesday night drop-off. Just another business trip. Just another... Emma grabbed my arm. Not a tap, a grip. Her small hand clamped onto my forearm hard enough to make me flinch.
"Dad, we can't go home tonight."
I glanced at her in the rearview mirror. Her face was pale. Her eyes were too wide. My first instinct was to sigh. Another worry, another shadow that wasn't really there. I opened my mouth to say something reassuring, something dismissive, but her hand was shaking.
"Please,"
her voice cracked.
"Please believe me this time."
This time. Those two words cut straight through me because she'd warned me before. The strange SUV parked across from our house 3 nights running. I'd told her she was imagining things. The phone call she'd overheard at 3 a.m, I'd said it was a bad dream. I dismissed her, patted her head, sent her back to bed. And now she was begging me to believe her, trembling in the back seat, and I could see it in her eyes. Pure terror. Not imagination, not anxiety, real fear. The kind that comes from knowing something bad is about to happen and no one will listen. I was coasting toward the exit. Home was east, 25 minutes to Brooklyn Heights. Our brownstone with the red door and the oak tree, the house that was supposed to be safe. But Emma was shaking, and I'd been wrong before. I'm a structural engineer. I calculate risk for a living. And in that moment, with rain drumming on the roof and my daughter's hand gripping my arm, the math was simple. Risk of believing her and being wrong, we waste the night. Risk of not believing her and being wrong, something terrible happens. The equation wasn't even close. I changed lanes. "Okay," I said quietly. "I believe you." Emma exhaled, shaky, desperate.
"You do?"
"Yeah, sweetheart. I do." I met her eyes in the mirror. "I'm sorry I didn't before." She nodded, blinking fast. I took the exit toward home, but my hands were steady now. My mind was already problem-solving. If something was wrong, if Emma had heard something, seen something, I needed to know what we were dealing with. I'd been buried in work for years, late nights at the firm, weekends catching up on projects, always chasing the next promotion. I told myself I was providing for my family, but the truth was uglier. I'd stopped paying attention to my own home. Not anymore. So instead of heading home to Brooklyn Heights, I made a turn that changed everything. We were going home, but we weren't going inside. We sat in darkness, my SUV parked beneath the shadows of two tall elms across the street from our brownstone on the quiet Brooklyn Heights block. I'd spent 3 years designing that house. Every beam, every system. It was supposed to be safe. Hours crawled by. Emma dozed against the window. I watched our porch light, the red door, the oak tree swaying. Everything looked normal. By 11:15, I felt ridiculous. Maybe we should just go check, I whispered. Maybe you misheard. Emma jolted awake. Wait, Dad, please, just a little longer. The desperation in her voice kept me there, but my engineer's brain was calculating probabilities, and they weren't looking good. Then headlights. No, not headlights. A dark shape rolling down the street with its lights off. A van, black or navy, impossible to tell, no front plate. It crept past 2 houses, then slowed and stopped right in front of ours. My heart hammered. 2 men climbed out, black clothing, hoodies up, faces covered. They moved with purpose. No hesitation, no nervous glances. Professionals. Who are they? I breathed. The bad people Mom talked to, Emma whispered. They walked up our driveway like they owned it. I expected them to force the lock, smash a window. I reached for my phone to call 911. Then one of them pulled something from his pocket. A key. My key. He slid it into the lock. The deadbolt turned with a soft click. They walked inside my house. How? My voice cracked. How did they have a key? There were only 3 keys, mine in the cup holder, Rachel's, supposedly in Boston, and the spare we kept in a lockbox in her home office, the office she always kept locked. Mom gave it to them, Emma whispered. I heard her. She said she'd leave it in an envelope. My wife gave strangers a key to our home, to the house where our daughter slept. Flashlight beams swept the windows, systematic, searching. Then I smelled it. Sharp. Chemical. My brain cataloged it automatically. Accelerant, petroleum-based, not natural gas. Smoke curled from multiple windows at once. Professional job. Multiple ignition points. They doused the house, laid trails, probably disabled the smoke detectors. Orange light bloomed inside. Fast. Too fast to be accidental. The fire caught like it was meant to. Flames licked through window frames, glass shattered from the heat. The 2 men walked out calm, unhurried, got back in the van and disappeared around the corner just as sirens wailed in the distance. Someone else had called 911. I fumbled for the burner phone in my glove box, dialed with shaking hands. Fire at 712 Monroe Place, fully engulfed. I hung up before they could ask questions. Strategic. I wasn't ready to reveal we were alive. Fire trucks screamed up the street. Firefighters jumped out, pulling hoses, shouting, but I knew they couldn't save it. The house was burning too hot, too fast. 3 years of work turned into ash. Emma was crying, soft, hitching sobs. I told you, Dad. I pulled her close, pressing her face against my shoulder. You saved us, sweetheart. You saved our lives. She had. If we'd been inside, if we'd been sleeping, those men would have locked us in. We would have had maybe 2 minutes, maybe less. My 9-year-old had saved us from being burned alive. As firefighters battled the flames, I made another call, this one to a person my father had told me to trust. Attorney Margaret Chen, Dad's friend from his law school days. He'd pressed her business card into my hand at his funeral 6 years ago, already weak from pancreatic cancer. Keep this, he'd said. If you ever need someone who won't back down, call her. I only hoped she'd remember him. From my hidden vantage point a block away, I watched my wife arrive at the scene of the destruction she'd orchestrated. The Uber pulled up just after midnight. Rachel stepped out, saw the smoking ruins, and her performance began.
Oh God, my family. David, Emma.
She ran toward the house, heels clicking. A police officer caught her before she got too close. She collapsed against him, sobbing. I gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. The fire chief approached. Ma'am, we haven't found any remains yet. The fire was extremely intense. Rachel looked up, mascara running.
They have to be in there. David texted me goodnight at 9:30. They were sleeping, but I saw it. The micro expression when he said no bodies. Not grief. Fear.
She was scared they hadn't found us. Preliminary assessment suggests the gas system, the chief continued. We'll investigate fully.
The gas system?
Her voice pitched higher.
But David just designed it. He's a structural engineer.
Fresh sobs, setting up her narrative, blaming my engineering. I reached for Emma's smartwatch, typed quickly. Hey babe, Emma and I stopped for late dinner. Home soon. Sent. Rachel's phone buzzed. She glanced down. Her face went white, bone white. She looked up, scanning the crowd, the shadows, eyes wild, no longer performing. Pure panic. She knows we're alive. I shifted into drive and pulled away slowly. No lights.
Dad?
Emma's voice was small. Why don't we tell the police? I chose my words carefully. Because right now, it's our word against Mom's. She has an alibi. Cameras saw her at the airport. We need proof first.
Remember how I didn't believe you?
Adults make that same mistake. Emma nodded slowly.
Evidence, like on TV.
Exactly. I drove to a cheap motel near LaGuardia, paid cash, gave the name Robert Miller. The room smelled like old smoke and disinfectant. Emma collapsed onto the bed, asleep within minutes. I sat in the bathroom, door closed, my father's business card trembling in my hands. Margaret Chen, attorney at law. 3 years ago, dying from cancer, Dad had pressed this into my palm. Son, I don't trust that wife of yours. If you need help beyond what police can do, call this woman. I'd been offended. Then, 1:30 in the morning, I dialed, expecting voicemail. She answered on the third ring.
This is Margaret Chen. Miss Chen, my father was Richard Morrison. He gave me your number 3 years ago. If you needed help your wife couldn't know about. Her voice was steady. Richard warned me this might come. What happened, David?
If you enjoyed this story so far, please hit that like button and share it with someone who appreciates true survival stories. Your support helps this channel grow.
Margaret, you know who I am. Your father told me everything. He never trusted Rachel. Asked me to watch over you.
Talk quickly. I explained. Fire, arsonists, Emma's warning, the key, hiding, watching Rachel perform.
Don't go to police yet, Margaret said. They'll need hard evidence, not just testimony. Meet me at my office tomorrow, 9 in the morning. I don't have evidence, not yet.
Her voice carried certainty.
But I know exactly where to start. Your wife's car at the airport.
At 2:30 in the morning, I left Emma sleeping in the motel room and drove back to JFK Airport. Not as a husband dropping off his wife, but as a man hunting evidence of murder. The parking garage was nearly empty. Level 4, Section C. I found the silver Tesla. I sat for a moment. What if there's nothing? But Emma's voice, I heard her, Dad. I got out. The spare key was on my work keychain, emergency backup she'd never known I kept. I unlocked the driver's door and slid inside. Her perfume hit me first, then the chemical smell, the same accelerant from the fire. I searched methodically, glove box, console, under the seats. My fingers touched plastic under the passenger seat. A burner phone. I powered it on, 12% battery. One saved contact. M. I opened the messages. 6 days ago. Rachel, I can't keep living this lie. I want to be with you, Marcus. M. Then do it. Insurance money. Fresh start. 5 days ago. Rachel, I'm scared. What if something goes wrong? M. Babe, I found the guys, professionals. It'll look like his gas system malfunctioned. His design. No one suspects an engineer's mistake. 4 days ago. Rachel, I got the 60,000 cash. Good girl. Leave the key under the back doormat. They'll handle everything. Tuesday night. I kept scrolling. 4 days ago, later. Rachel, what about Emma? Collateral damage, babe. You want a new life or not? Can't have a kid without a father. Rachel, you're right. No loose ends. The phone slipped from my hands. Collateral damage. She called our daughter collateral damage. I opened the door and dry heaved onto the concrete. 3 days ago. Tuesday, midnight. You'll be at airport. Perfect alibi. I'll be at gym, cameras everywhere, untouchable. Tuesday morning. Rachel, I love you. Love you too, babe. Tonight we're free. By tomorrow, you're a rich widow. I forced myself to keep searching. Glove box, receipt, $60,000 cash withdrawal. Monday, Rachel's signature. Center console, airport locker key, number 349. Life insurance documents. David, $4 million. Emma, $750,000. Beneficiary, Rachel Morrison. Trunk, my blueprints. My gas system designed for our brownstone, covered in red circles. Rachel's handwriting. Sabotage here. Make it look like accident. Blame design flaw. She'd studied my work for months, learned my engineering to weaponize it, turned my safety design into a murder weapon. I photographed everything, every text, every document, the blueprints, sent copies to secure email, then took the physical evidence. Phone, receipt, blueprints, insurance papers. I sat in my SUV shaking. I designed that system to keep us safe. She turned it into a weapon to kill us. I let myself cry for 5 minutes, then stopped. Engineer mode. I had evidence. Now, I needed a plan. Dawn broke over New York as I drove back to the motel. I had texts and documents that proved conspiracy. But Margaret was right. We needed more. We needed to make her confess. By the time Emma woke up Wednesday morning, I'd already met with Margaret Chen and formed a plan that would either prove my wife's guilt or destroy what was left of my life. Her office sat in an old brick building downtown, files stacked everywhere, family law certificates lining the walls, photos of clients she'd helped. I spread the evidence across her desk. Phone, photos, the burner phone, blueprints with Rachel's handwritten notes. She studied everything in silence. When she reached the collateral damage text, she let out a low whistle. This is damning, David. But here's the problem. A defense lawyer will argue the phone was stolen, planted, faked. They'll say Rachel never wrote these texts. My chest tightened. So it's not enough? It's strong, but we need her voice on tape confessing. How she thinks I'm dead? Margaret smiled grimly. That's exactly why it'll work. You're going to rise from the dead. An hour later, Detective Maria Santos walked in. Hispanic, late 40s, sharp eyes. She reviewed the evidence with the expression of a woman who'd seen too much but refused to look away. 26 years on the force, she said quietly. I've seen bad things. But hiring someone to burn your own kid? She shook her head. Will you help us? I asked. Detective Santos's eyes met mine. I don't care about anything except the truth. And I have a daughter too. Your wife tried to kill a child. That's evil. Something loosened in my chest. Someone believed me. Someone with a badge. We need a confession, Santos said. These texts are strong, but a good lawyer could dispute them. We need her voice admitting she hired those men. How? We wire you. Public place, my team undercover. You make her talk. Margaret leaned forward. Thursday morning, 10 o'clock, coffee shop in Manhattan. Public, crowded, cameras everywhere. Santos nodded. I'll have cops posing as customers. Barista, a couple at the corner table. I'll be in a van outside with the audio feed. But she thinks I'm dead, I said. Why would she show up? Because we're going to make her think the bodies were found, Margaret answered. She typed quickly and showed me. Mrs. Morrison, this is Fire Investigator Lopez. We found remains in the rubble. Need to discuss identification and insurance claim procedures. Can you meet me tomorrow, 10 o'clock? My stomach twisted. You think she'll come? She'll be desperate to know if you're really dead. Margaret hit send. We waited. 2 heavy minutes. Then her phone buzzed. Yes. Where? I need to know about my family. Bluestone Coffee, West Village, 10 o'clock. Another buzz. I'll be there. Before we get to the confrontation, if you're finding this story gripping, please subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. You don't want to miss what happens next. Santos stood. She took the bait. That afternoon, she taught me how to wear a wire, body mic under my shirt, make her talk about the fire, ask what happened, mention the key, bring up Emma, then Marcus. Defensive people confess. I practiced, hands shaking. Emma watched from the motel bed. Will you be safe, Dad? I promise, I said. That night, with Emma sleeping beside me, I lay awake. Tomorrow, I would face the woman I'd loved for 16 years, the woman who tried to kill our daughter. I had one chance to make her confess, one chance for justice, one chance to keep my promise.